Picture this. You're a kid who grew up with very few game consoles, and the ones you did own were fairly behind the times. Just getting new games in general was a rare occurrence. So, what was your best friend? Websites like Cool Math for Kids, full of free-to-play Flash games and the like. But there is one Flash game that caught my interest as a kid, Super Smash Flash. When I first found it online, I was obsessed with the original Smash Bros. On the N64, which at the time was the only Smash I had ever played, so it really interested me. However, my dad did not want me playing games on the internet in fear of giving him viruses, and on top of that, the only computer we had was the family laptop, so I hardly ever got to actually play it. But it was in the back of my mind for years, being this mysterious title, just barely out of reach. I did play it throughout the years at various points in school computer labs, or on the family computer when my dad wasn't home, but I'd never get to finish it. Until one day when I finally did, and after that, I kinda forgot about Smash Flash altogether, with me getting to play much better Smash sequels, like Brawl or Melee. But lately, I've been feeling a yearn for nostalgia, so today, let's take a break from all the big masterpieces like Earthbound or Majora's Mask, and look at a flawed Flash game from 2006 that holds a special place in my heart. The first thing that becomes apparent about SFM is how it's modeled after Melee, from the music, the menus, and the stages. Fun fact real fast, I actually played this a long time before I knew or played Melee, and for quite a while, I associated the menu theme and the like with this rather than it. The character selection is bizarre, yet also kind of awesome. You've got all the stars that came back from Melee, like Mario, Luigi, Link, Zelda, Young Link, Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Mewtwo, Kirby, Fox, Samus, Captain Falcon, and Mr. Game & Watch. Next are the characters that eventually did make their way into the official Smash games. But back when SFM came out, they weren't included yet, such as Sonic, Cloud, or Meta Knight, who is with Kirby for some reason, kind of like how Sheik is included with Zelda. Then we have characters from games that have never made their way into the series so far, such as Chrono, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Mega Man X, Zero, Lloyd Irving, and even Super Sonic, despite being Sonic with the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Well, I guess we have Samus and Zero Suit Samus, and Mario and Dr. Mario, which don't make all that much sense either. Anyway, you can tell that there is a clear bias for the Sonic franchise. But if that wasn't enough already, well, two Sonic OCs are included as characters as well, Blade and Blue, who are basically Sonic clones with swords. And to top this off, a lot of characters from non-video game franchises are playable too, like Naruto or Inuyasha, which make a little bit of sense being popular anime characters and all, but then we get Mr. Incredible. Yeah, Mr. Incredible of all people is a playable fighter. I'm guessing The Incredibles coming out only like 2 years beforehand may have had something to do with his inclusion, regardless though. It feels kind of surreal seeing Mr. Incredible taking jabs at Kirby or something. Many of Melee's modes return, from classic mode to adventure, to versus matches, to multi-man Melee. Let's start with adventure, where right away you realize a pretty big problem. This game is borderline unplayable. You can rack up hundreds of damage in a few seconds if you're not careful. Yet there are times where your opponent is still managing to make their way back onto the stage despite having hundreds of damage themselves. Each character only gets 5 different attacks. Not special attacks, just attacks. There's no basic bashes or smash attacks or anything like that. Projectiles can be incredibly OP. Sometimes all it takes to win a battle is to spam them until your opponent dies, but once again, occasionally, they still somehow make their way back onto the stage for no logical reason. Speaking of logic, the physics don't make any damn sense either. They're glitchy, it's way too easy to die for no apparent reason, and overall, the gameplay is just a mess. But, if you think fights are bad, platforming is a whole nother level of suckiness. There's a lot of slowdown at times, it's hard to land on platforms, enemies are just annoying, some of the levels aren't well designed, and with how easy it is to rack up damage in a few seconds, fighting off hordes of enemies is almost impossible. And to make things worse, far more characters are unlocked for adventure mode, where these platforming levels are located in classic, like in the actual Melee. However, one saving grace of the game being poorly designed is a bug that makes unlocking all the characters a piece of cake. If you double click, a menu pops up. If you click forward during classic or adventure, you can skip pretty much every level except for target mode. Seriously, this trick is a lifesaver, and without it, I don't know if I could honestly unlock every character of how broken things can be at times. Another neat aspect is after clearing 1P mode, you aren't limited to one challenger fight at a time, meaning you can unlock multiple characters at the same time, unlike in any of the actual Smash games, which is pretty cool. What's also pretty cool is how easy it is to unlock most characters. Very few ask for anything unreasonable, like, playing versus mode for 20 hours or anything. Most are unlocked by either clearing classic or adventure with a certain character, or beating the mode with all starting fighters. Inuyasha though, and especially Cloud, have to be nearly impossible to legitimately unlock, considering their criteria. For Inuyasha, you have to clear adventure without dying once, and for Cloud, it's clearing 100-man melee. Considering you can die from like 2 attacks, I'm honestly wondering if the latter of the two is even possible. Although, sometimes CPUs are just dumb, and I mean dumb, like, they'll just stand there doing nothing, or they spam the same attack 20 times, despite not even being that close to you, so I guess if you get lucky it may be possible. Just like in Melee, Mr. Game & Watch is the final unlockable character. His criteria to be unlocked is to have target test beaten with every character except for him. With every character now unlocked, you're gifted All-Star mode, which once again, with how easy it is to take massive damage in a split second, is pretty tough. Now, I know I've been pretty hard on this game in this video, calling it an unplayable mess and all that, but I do like it deep down, if only for nostalgia if nothing else. There are loads of characters that I saw for the first time playing SFM, like the Sonic cast, Cloud, or Chrono. Target Test is the one mode that is actually quite a bit of fun, with each fighter having their own custom stage, where their special moves are used to reach certain targets. And as a kid, it was just something to pass the time at school or something, just trying to see how many characters I could unlock in the time I had. I also have to cut it some slack being made by one guy in under a year, all the way back in 2006, when he was 16. Yeah, 16. You wanna know what I made when I was 16? A bunch of trash, that's what. So, kudos to the creator for being able to do that. Super Smash Flash went on to have a sequel that is actually pretty darn good, with far better gameplay, more characters, more modes, more stages, and is constantly being updated. And if you guys want me to make a video on that too, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll cover it sometime in the future. Until then, like the video, subscribe, comment, watch my other videos and all that. Anyway, later.